Okay, hello, welcome to the second class of the evening for How To. This is How to Make an Immersive Event with Dr. Pablo Suarez and Thomas Heidtmann. Hi, and welcome. This session is for any and everyone, and it's a collaboration between Tour de Moon, the University of the Underground, and Union of Justice to answer and unravel some of the questions that you've always wanted to be answered. I know I've introduced myself already to most of you, but here I go again. My name's Ayana Blair Ford. My pronouns are she, they. I have dark brown hair, dark brown skin. I wear dorky round glasses, and I have a big odd smile with a dimple. I'm assistant director of Tour de Moon, a new nationwide festival coming to you in 2022, but more on that later. As it also happens, Nelly and Majid, directors of Union of Justice and University of the Underground, are also working with Tour de Moon, hence our collaboration. Today, we're really excited to have Dr. Pablo Suarez and Thomas to lead this session on how to make an immersive event. But before I dive into that, just a few house rules. There will be live captioning that's enabled, so feel free to turn that on your sides if you want to. This meeting is also being recorded. So please, if you don't want to be seen, turn your cameras off. It's also going to be put on YouTube, on the University of the Underground YouTube and the Tour de Moon one, so you can share this session straight afterwards with your friends and anybody else who you think would find it useful. So today we're going to have 20 minutes of each speaker telling us about their experiences and how they think the best way is to make an immersive event. And then we are going to have a quick Q&A and possibly some breakout sessions where you guys get to talk to each other, meet each other, and ask any other questions in a more quiet setting. And just before we set off, I'm going to just quickly show you some of the really cool opportunities that Tour de Moon has. Again, I know a lot of you have seen this already, but here goes. We basically have over 800 opportunities, grants, bursaries, and more for 18 to 25-year-olds to make art, make work, and join the Festival of Tour de Moon next year in the summer. We're going to the host cities of Leicester, Newcastle, and Southampton. And in order to make the festival happen, we wanted to give the opportunity for 18 to 25-year-olds to create work with and for us. So creating an immersive film, there's £25,000 available for an individual or a team that wants to get involved in doing that. Making a short film, there's up to £3,000 for anyone to make a short film that can be part of the festival as well. There's being the voice of the moon, creating digital work, performing in any of our immersive experiences, DJing in any of our immersive experiences, submitting your work, whether it's visual or written, to our independent zine in Moon Press. You get £340 per submission of that. Designing an issue of that same publication, you get £600 for doing that. So there's lots and lots of opportunities. And if any of you are based in Leicester, Southampton, or Newcastle, we'd definitely really want to hear from you. So all that being said and done, I think it's time to introduce you to our speakers. So we have Dr. Pablo Suarez, whose research focuses on the use of information for reducing vulnerability. He's an associate director of programs for the Red Crescent Climate Center and an advisor for Oxfam, America's private sector team. He's consulted for the United Nations Environment Programme, the World Bank, the Dutch Ministry of Foreign Affairs, the International Institute for Sustainable Development, the American Association for the Advancement of Science, and so many more, and has done a lot of work in over 30 different countries. So Pablo, did you want to introduce yourself? Maybe give a description. Pablo?
He's just also had technical difficulties. Pablo
Oh, no.
is here. Pablo,
Pablo's here.
You. Hey.
Amazing timing.
Hello,
incredible
friends.
timing.
Technology can get in the way, right? I have to log out. I am in someone's home that I don't know who it is. Welcome to life with hospitable people that
We
make
love
something possible. So greetings. I'm sorry I missed everything that happened before. My name is Pablo. I'm friends with some of your friends, and I was invited to show up. In this context, super grateful for the opportunity. The little I've seen makes me really want to join your underground university and think how from the underground forces we can aspire to go high in our ambition to be of help. So my understanding is that the invitation is to reflect on how we can try to make our events immersive.
100%.
And if you indulge me in telling you a little bit about who is this dude that showed up. My name is Pablo. I'm from Argentina. I used to be a math geek, using the language of mathematics to understand and address change. I became a researcher, mostly on climate and disasters, doing the science to help anticipate what can happen, whether it's tomorrow's hurricane or long-term sea level rise, and how we can make decisions so that when something comes our way, we don't suffer as much. And guess what? I used to talk science, and I was extremely good at putting people to sleep. Not much was happening. What was infuriating is that I was doing what was expected of me. I was presenting the way I was trained. I was rewarded by doing what was expected of me. I went, I shared, and people were in the audience, physically present, but they could as well have been elsewhere. In the absence of genuine engagement, my communication was unilateral, unidirectional statements that didn't make a difference. And so I had the fortune of beginning to work with creative types, with people whose job it is to make things more exciting. So if now comes the part where everything can fail, I'm going to push a button here. Let's see if it works. Excellent. I assume you have the magic buttons things to make me full screen, because otherwise you won't be able to see. So let me make that thing bigger and make myself a little bit smaller and semi-transparent.
Awesome.
So that is one way of thinking of science. We have a global pandemic that forces many of us to not be face-to-face. We have a changing climate. We have conflict, whether it's racist police beating people of a certain pigmentation in the cities near me, or crossing borders with large weapons. How are we going to collaborate? How are we going to make something meaningful? I am constantly being invited to join events like the UN Climate Conference. I've attended 17 consecutive UN climate conferences as not just a participant, but as a doer, as an organizer of sessions. And the latest one included some ideas where I was invited to share what could be the role of art and culture and innovation. Now, this is the photo that was used by the UN Climate Conference to promote their events. Would you like to be in that meeting? Would you like to be immersed in that event? 2 full weeks with people from 200 countries trying to resolve one of the most complex problems that we confront. Do you think there's any hope that that bunch of people will come up with solutions that will have incentives to be inspiring and inspired? It's designed for failure. So I've been working with hip hop bands, with cricket players, with poets, with game designers. This is yours truly running a game session at the White House. Hello, my name is Pablo. This is not a frisbee, it's a hurricane. If it hits you in the chest, you're in trouble. Everyone please stand up. And that created an immersive experience of hurricane risk, and hurricane preparedness. The frisbee was made of foam, so even though I hit a lot of people in the chest, no one got hurt. But the intent was there's some dice, and I threw the dice, so people could sit down to represent evacuation, and then they figured out the rule. 1-1, throw the hurricane over here, 6-6, throw the hurricane over there. 130 people, they figured out the rule, and as I was about to throw people over there with an 8 sat down, the hurricane flew above their heads, hit the wall of the White House, and they were like, yay! And I said, congratulations. Now think Hurricane Katrina. 1,000 people killed plus in the richest country on earth for something that we knew was coming. How can we create immersive experiences for people to feel what it's like to have information linking decisions with consequences? I'm going to share with you one of my latest adventures. Can you tell me at what time I should end? Because I didn't pay attention and I don't want to steal more than my fair share. Do I have 10 more minutes, 15 more minutes?
You have at least 5 to 6 to 7 more minutes, so keep going.
All right, excellent. So in the context of the latest UN Climate Conference, I was invited to talk, to put people in a passive place to accomplish something. Instead, I said, let's make it immersive. And I invited people from all these places around the world, game designers from South Africa, puppet theater makers from Central Argentina, and so on. And one of the things we wanted to bring, I understand has a connection to what you're doing, which is the moon. Let me take a detour. This is my grandma, Maria Cesarina Ottavina Becchini di Bertoncini, la nonna, celebrating her 100th birthday. She wanted an immersive experience because she liked Mexican music. She wanted mariachis. We found her the mariachis. Now, she used to say, difficile come pestar la luna, as hard as stepping on the moon. And humans stepped on the moon before I was born. And now we're about to step on the moon again within 5 years. And within 10 years, there's likely to be a rocket that goes to the moon and comes back the rocket, but not the human. What to do with that? One of the ideas being discussed is Lunar University, an entity that already kind of begins to exist on paper, that phase 2 begins in 2030 to create learning and interaction and culture from the perspective of the fact that we humans can be outside of planet Earth. And phase 1, which is between now and 2030, how we're going to make it happen, what for, with whom. And I am contributing to this team, trying to make this Lunar University for the benefit of Earth, to engage Earthlings that are not like able to afford one of those rockets. So what we did was to engage 3 bunches of artists. One was Santiago Espeche, who took imagery from the moon and created art with it. Here you can see that he rotated and manipulated colors, and it's a photo of one of the craters, Mare Undaris, and he saw a guardian angel, and that's the name he gave. You may be thinking, what does it have to do with immersive events? Well, this was seen by a collective of artists in the small island nation of Vanuatu in the South Pacific. They created a beach art experience that involved all sorts of materials, including, I think you can barely see it, but in the back end, there's a pile of stones, which looks like this. It is rotated to match the crater that you just saw with the cone. This is a stone sculpture designed to be ephemeral. When the tide rises, the sculpture is dissolved. And this was the contribution from Vanuatu to the UN Climate Conference in the context of we're going to the moon and we're letting Vanuatu go underwater. So with that, let me stop this strange thing and return here. Why do I share that? We created yes, I'm wrapping up. We created an online event that brought people from Vanuatu creating an immersive art, like literally immersive. It was going to go underwater with the tides to bring a message. Don't let us go underwater. Let's do something. My advice to you: to create an immersive experience in an event, engage people in co-creating what happens, ensure that what is shared includes emotion and not just information or insight, and invite the experience to be a collective emergence. It involves taking risks, but if I can do it with the Red Cross, you surely can do it with the underground university. And I look forward to working with you and making more happen. Thank you, friends.
Awesome. Amazing. What a, like an incredible like range of experiences and like such a different way to think about it. I mean, I wouldn't even have put this to science, but the way you've explained it 100%. And I love that you've worked with musicians and hip hop artists and things to do it. It's really interesting. So we're going to have a little bit of a Q&A in a bit, but we're going to hear from Thomas first, our other speaker. Thomas, did you want to introduce yourself?
Hey, yes, hello, and thanks, Ayana and Victoria, for the invite. Also very happy for this opportunity. I'm Thomas Heidtmann. I'm sitting right now in Berlin in my apartment, and hourglasses too, like many of you, and gray sweater, and I'm ready to go. I will have a little bit more of an introduction about my work in my presentation. So I will start sharing my screen now.
Sure thing.
And let's hope that goes well. All right. Can you see my screen?
Yeah, we can see everything.
Wonderful. All right. So I just wanted to say hi with one of my own works that you can see on this picture here, which is Berlin Calling, a work that was shown at Hong Kong at the ICEA Hong Kong in 2016. And it's basically also stands for like what I think is very crucial to immersive events, just like we heard before. And that's like connecting to others. I think that's basically the essence of what makes an event immersive. And yeah, as I said, I'm a Berlin-based artist and also artist curator. And I participated in many events over the last decade, such as exhibitions and also organized conferences and hackathons, which I will show you in a second. But before I go there, I want to quickly show a video that just shows you like my work in general. So let's just hope the video plays. Okay, wonderful. It's just working when I tested it a second. Let's try again. Okay. So that was this short introduction about my artistic work, which I think is relevant also for the rest of the events that I kind of like make. And now, come on, move on. I think we're not full screen anymore, are we?
Oh, no,
anyway,
we've gone out of full screen, but we can see. It's all good.
Yeah, exactly. I just go on. So, so as you could see, like I'm an artist that is like working on this intersection of art, science, and technology. So what I want today, like share with you some of the learnings from some of the events that I organized, and I put them right in front of you in the beginning of this presentation, just to talk about them quickly and then show you 3 examples of this work. So as we already said, like I think most important is to build and engage in a community or in several communities. This is really like, I think has been very crucial for my work and also for like the success of making an event like special. And then try to be diverse for sure, because you know, the more diverse you are, the more interesting the more interest you create in different people and many people. So have like really variation in your program, in the participants that you invite, and also in the perspectives that you present. And then, as we just heard from Pablo, I think co-creation is the key as well. So really try to allow and foster participation and give these opportunities for people to make something together. And then recently, I think what became very important, since like traditionally, I think I organized more like exhibitions, you know, but with COVID, that all became very difficult. So I think to be flexible and open to change is also very key. Just don't like stick to ideas and try to, you know, change them a bit depending on what's possible. So the first project that I want to present to you is like the Space Art Hackathon that I made with the Goethe Institute in Bangalore and the Srishti Institute in 2017 during a residency there. And it was basically a space art hackathon that took place in Workbench Project, which is like a makerspace there. And it was about like 48 hours that people could like gather there and work together on art projects. And so in the beginning we have simulating presentations up front for like the people. We pitch then ideas, or like everybody that is coming can pitch ideas. They form teams and then work together on art that is at the end exhibited. And I think that's a very nice format that you usually have that often for like from companies, to make apps and stuff like that. It's been, let's say, has some negative sides too, but if you do it in a way where kind of like don't expect a certain outcome from the people, it can really be very creative and really generate nice outcome and make like just be special for the participants. And I think that's very very nice. And I also have a short video that I can show for that. So I'm just going to skip through that a little bit so that you get a bit of a better impression of what actually happened there. So that, as I said, we had in the beginning, you kind of present what you are planning to do, then you form these groups and you work together. And we also had mentors that introduced to people, like was there to guide and help. And let's just see. You can really like create special projects on like many different levels, and it's really nice to have people of different backgrounds. I'll lower that a little. Just to have like different background, different skills, and all these, like, as I said, diversity at hand, and really like make these like special projects that in this particular case are about art. And then in the end, you exhibit them, people can encounter them, can do something with it. And obviously in a form of a like hackathon that it's 48 hours, everything is very rough, but ideas just come. And that's really something I think that is something that creates immersion, this kind of like possibility of like doing something together. Oops. And a very recent event that just happened last weekend that I organized and where we also met Pablo is this like space race conference that we made with SPARth, which is one of the organizations that I'm involved with, also with the hackathon, right? And also Cosmica Institute in Nahum. And we had this challenge of basically changing an event that was planned as a physical event into a virtual one, because originally it was supposed to take place at an observatory, and like so many others, we couldn't do that, so we had to go into the virtual world. And basically it ended up doing a Zoom meeting. But I think obviously there's other choices that you can pick, which we also explored. But so for example, like creating a 3D world and have a like 3D really with avatars and everything, and make it immersive in that way. Or 2D was also a possibility. You have also these platforms where you can like have little 2D worlds. But in the end, for us as like a relatively small entity or whatever, it's like just been too much effort, too much time, too much cost involved, and so we couldn't really do that. And in the end, we had to go for Zoom and just think about how we can make that interesting. And we kind of like felt like the best way to do that is to really mix up everything during the day as much as you can, like like not have a strict like follow everything always the same, but really like mix it up, have keynote presentations, panel discussions, performances. We had audiovisual performances, and then also like film screenings, and always have them also like in a different like at different times and not always the same, so that not everything just feels like the repetition of the same over and over again. And that is a way of like getting people immersed and keeping them engaged, also like you do here with like kind of like trying to engage the community through, you know, constant feedback and communication in the chat and through Q&A. And it was a really wonderful event, I have to say, and I'm still very like happy about like how much, you know, we had to like discuss, like everybody was so involved, and I really like, yeah, it's been great. And I just wanted to share that, even though I don't have like really so much documentation material ready right now. It's just like we had some really nice keynote by Luca Feireis about you know, the moon age, the memories of the moon age, where he just discussed all the cultural evidence, just how relevant the moon is for us and has always been. Second day we went to on Mars, and we kind of like made it in a different way. There was, as I said, showing, for example, we showed these 4 video works by Manuel Diaz, who is a Mexican artist, in a Cosmica film event, to really just, you know, have it feel different, and also think international, right? Like try to go out and involve as many people around the globe as you can, because that creates just more feedback for yourself in a positive way. And lastly, for this event, I also wanted to share like a audiovisual performance by Gilbert Synod. So as you can see, it was very, like, you know, maybe you can get ideas, like variations there, and that was key for like the event to be immersive, I think. And for Zoom call, which can be very tiring, and you know, like we all had a few at this point. I think it was really nice to see that people kept on like being engaged and being active and being there. And so I think it was, in that sense, I can really consider it a success, or I do. And lastly, I don't know how much time I have left. I forgot to turn on my timer. I wanted to do. I just wanted to quickly also show you another project, which is the Unscheduling Creativity toolkit, learning toolkit that we made with Lacuna Lab. That is another, that's basically a studio at this intersection of art, science, and technology here in Berlin that I co-founded 6 years ago. And we made this like Unscheduling Creativity publication, which you can also see on Miro as an interactive Miro board if you want to. And here is also, I guess you share this later so you can see the link. So basically it's, how we presented artworks during and connect to the public during the COVID pandemic, like individual like strategies that we had to come up with also to keep our organization afloat as part of this Ambassadors of Change platform, which was like funded by the EU. And to give you a little impression, this is Lacuna Lab. So this is what we do. We have like, you know, 170 square meter room, studio kind of loft situation. And then we do all sorts of events like audiovisual performances, talks, every year for also like transmediale Vorspiel in Berlin and stuff like that. So if you're interested, definitely have a look. And as I already said, the challenge was for us to like, how can we present our work to the public in a like time where we cannot really be in contact with the public, and especially for us as artists, it's like very vital to do that actually. And we basically came up with our answer was, I mean, we definitely had to do it in a hybrid way, you know, and also very individual. Like everybody had to basically find their own answer to this question, because everybody, you know, needs to every work is different, and everybody needs to find another way of like translating something into a space that it wasn't really meant to be in, and even find out if that is working or not. And I wanted to give you 4 examples for that. So was that already the first one? Sorry, just not sure we skipped one or not. Yeah, we skipped one. So so the first idea that we came up with was like, actually, let's make interviews of us, the participants of this event that was for the Vorspiel Transmediale actually in 2020. and let's introduce all our members and give them the ability to the possibility to speak about their idea, their approaches, and what they do. And even if it's not like a direct immersion and interaction, it still allows you to, you know, keep a connection in some sort of way. And then obviously the second option is to like present in, sorry, I can't really see because there's the overlay. Present in that individually. Yeah. So basically, yeah, I mean, just give a, you know, presentation on Zoom or wherever, and just be directly in touch with the participants and work on or show your stuff there, and really like have a one-on-one or yeah, really close connection, the closest you can possibly have when you're kind of like in quarantine or whatever. And that also translates then to like, for example, performance works where you can like bring the performance, Paul Wilbinski, for example, remote rules and rituals, he usually works with the audience, right? And that he can't really do. So what he did was like to create a setting that allowed him and the participants in their apartments or wherever they were to do like similar things and engage in that way and participate, yeah, from their homes and create art on the way together. Or lastly, then of course it's possible for you to move entirely the experience into the metaverse or like a digital world, which is something that we did, or I did with Ambika and Nayeli for our Not a Conversation project, where we kind of had this like knots that have AI. Well, it doesn't matter really so much for this talk, but anyway, so what we did is we moved like a virtual prototype that we built with A-Frame, so that people like really can just connect with their own phone at home to our prototype and interact with this like GPT-3 AI. And this is all like kind of ways of how you can, you know, very individually find solutions to keep engaged and in contact with your audience in a very challenging time. And that already wraps up my talk. And yeah, I want to thank you again for the opportunity, and also feel free to follow me if you want to learn more. Thank you.
That is great. Thank you both so much. Really informative and full presentations and explorations of the kind of work that you both do. I kind of want to open it out to the floor now. I mean, it's perfect timing. We got just about enough time to get into a bit of a conversation. So if anybody has any questions for either Pablo or Thomas, please do drop them into the chat. But also, I mean, but as people are thinking questions to ask and writing them down, I mean, a question for both of you is, you know, if somebody's just starting out, you know, they're passionate about their subject, whether it's science or music or whatever, and they want to give a talk on it, but they want to make it immersive. What's your best low budget initial idea or advice that you would give to someone in that position? Pablo, we can start with you maybe.
Sure. Low budget is the story of our lives. I didn't mention in the beginning that I used to be a full-time researcher, and then I became a humanitarian worker. So more than half of my time I work with a global team of the Red Cross called the Red Cross Red Crescent Climate Center. And people that give money to us mostly give it to help us, you know, feed the hungry, shelter the homeless, or heal the people who are sick. But we find that without inspiring people to want to help, there isn't enough for us to do. So that's the main reason why we want to support you as young, promising artists with fire in the belly and a lot of brain power and a sense of integrity and generosity. How can we help you help others help others? Yeah. So nice. We fully understand that budget is always an issue. We have been working with designers, digital designers, to create playful activities that allow for the co-creation of things. For example, I'm going to copy paste a link. You don't need to watch it now, but it's a 4-minute link of another session, not the one I mentioned earlier, that I facilitated at the UN Climate Conference Let me get back here. So 4-minute video of engaging virtual session. There you go. What we do in that video, you will see that there are two tools that are particularly useful. One is called all caps rant, where people log into, like right now, I could give you the link to the place. You log in and your facilitator says, okay, you have 90 seconds. What's wrong with the world? In particular with whatever your topic is. And everyone goes into that thing and you see things evaporating. There's an aesthetic to it. After 60 or 90 seconds, whatever you want, it's over. And then something happens, such as showing your movie or video or exuberant experience. And then people are offered to revisit those runs with a mildly mediated digital thing where you click on something that you, or more likely someone else, expressed, and then you click on it and you're invited to tweak it so it becomes an invitation, an offer, an idea, a proposal. We also have another one that is the co-creation of headlines or the co-creation of hip hop verses. We call it the hip hop generator, where you prime the pump of creativity and then people come up with text. You can say you're a journalist, what's the headline? Or you can say you're a singer, what's the lyric? And then each one creates one, and then they go, and after clicking some buttons, 3 people have to co-create one verse or one headline. And this is not exactly affordable, but not impossible. The team is called Good Games, and you can look them up. And otherwise, the cheapest you have is use the chat function. So if I were to tell you at the end of today, okay, open the chat and write one short thing that is now in your head that wasn't before you joined.
Yeah.
Okay, and now look at what someone else wrote and offer how you can help and contact that person directly. Or contact me, and then it begins to create a sense of what I don't like about the pre-pandemic world, which got totally consolidated in the current world, is that events were about unidirectional, unilateral, with people in the passive role. We want to give people the opportunity to be immersed into an activity where they act. And you as young filmmakers, young artists, young designers, you can create conditions for the audience to not be passive audience, but to reach out to each other, to you, and to themselves inside.
Sure. Wow. Great. Really, really great answer. And yeah, some really great insights there. Thomas, did you have anything that you wanted to add or advice to someone starting out in this kind of realm?
Actually, I was so engaged in the answer right now that I need the question one more time, please.
Yeah. No, 100%. 100%. No, so the question was, if anybody listening wants to do something, they have a project, something they want to talk about, or something they want to connect people in, and they want to make it immersive, and they don't have a lot of money, but they're really passionate about it. What advice would you give to someone to make an event or a moment or a speech or a talk pretty immersive?
Cool. I mean, reach out is, I think, my number one advice. Try to connect to whoever you can. It always is the best thing to do, to just ask for help, ask for advice, find people that inspire you, and see if they are open to discuss stuff with you. Maybe find someone who helps you directly in doing something, and then you can overcome obstacles that are too challenging for yourself. And so I think this is my biggest advice. And then also, I guess you just have to also accept, as I already said in the beginning of my talk, to be flexible and not stick to your initial idea too much, but to also go with the flow of things, and just if there's something that really stops you, then just not try to run through it with your head, but just think, how can I do this differently? And then maybe you actually get somewhere.
Yeah,
this would be my advice.
No, amazing, really great advice. I think actually, to be fair, it's good advice, because often we forget to ask for help and to actually just reach out to the right people and find people that have done it before, also to give advice and guidance and stuff. So yeah, great answers, both of you. Thank you so much. Okay, so I'm going to open the floor out again if anybody has any questions, but no one said anything, so I'm assuming that everyone's just mind blown by everything you showed and everything you've spoken about already anyway. So I'm going to probably stop the recording here, but thank you both so much for coming. It's been a pleasure to have you and to talk to you and hear what you have to say about these immersive events. Just want to remind everyone that obviously Tour de Moon is open for open calls. We have lots of opportunities and we really want you guys to get involved. So I'm going to drop the website into the chat, and I want you to have a little look if you have the time, and please do apply to things. Thank you both again so much for coming to this how to.